Okay, here's the forest preserve where I filmed scenes for Werewolf 2010, and a bunch of just took off, probably the same ones. They're down there, man. There's 3 white-tailed deer. They just took off right when I was turning my camera on. And there is the forest preserve where Werewolf 2010 ran around down there, throwing logs and stuff. And there is the deer. I'm going to zoom in on one of them right now. There's a couple of them right there. There you go, there's one. Hey deer! How's it going, man? Oh, hey! Oh, hey! Hey, hey! There he goes! There they go! Hey, hey, hey! You see those white tails taking off? Hey! Hey! Hey deer! Hey! I just wanted you to see those white tails taking off. Yeah, I wanted you to see them run, because you missed it before. Man, they ran, you can see all those white tails taking off. Hey deer, hey! A lot of times they go, hey, they look up. They're eating their grass, I go, hey, they look up. You see them on the side of the road when I'm going to my VA appointment with my brother. And what my brother will do is he'll get like in the right lane, or he'll get ahead of the cars, or he'll let other cars pass so that when I yell out the window, I won't be yelling at the car next to me. I don't want to scare any vehicles. And if there's people petting the deer, I don't do it. I don't do it if someone's feeding the deer or someone's petting the deer, because that's being rude, because those people are trying to hang out with a deer and pet it. I don't want to scare the deer and stop them from having fun. But if the deer are by themselves and no one's there petting them or feeding them, then I'll go, hey, hey deer, and they'll look up. It's kind of funny. They look up and see. Look at me, you know, it's kind of funny. When we drive by, going to the bus stop where my brother drops me off so I can catch the bus to go to the VA hospital, once a month, just to see if my blood's not too thick, because I don't want my blood to get too thick, because, if it gets too thick, you can get blood clots, Well, not everybody, but some people can. Because that happened to me in 2009 and 2010 once, so, I got to be careful so it doesn't come back. But they're confident that the blood clot is dissolved by now. Yeah, this is where I filmed Werewolf 2010, right down there. Right down in that swamp area. Werewolf running around throwing logs and stuff at Henry Licorno and his brother and stuff. There, that's where I filmed it. And there's like a swamp there now. I was thinking it'd be good for like a mummy movie. Have myself wrapped in bandages coming out of the swamp. You see the trees budding there. The spring has sprung. The grass has riz. Where last year's Sunday driver is. This is Dr. Weeks. Now, that was my college professor, Dr. Weeks. Short, about 5 foot tall. Used to wrestle at Wheaton College back in the 1950s, I think. Tough little guy. He was our college professor of a lot of class. Nice little man. He died about, maybe 5 years after I got out of college. But nice little man. I was giving rides in his car. He'd pay me to give him rides to, like Indiana or Minnesota. Nice man. But he'd say funny stuff. Like he'd hold all the test cards on 3x5 cards where we all did our tests for Greek. We did the Greek language. He'd hold it against his head and he'd compute the average, the class average. You go, then 87.6. He could tell us what the average was just by holding the cards up to his head. I think he got that from the Johnny Carson show, where, the great Karnak, Johnny Carson says, he'd read the cards because those cards have been kept sealed in a mayonnaise jar since 7 o'clock this morning. And no one but the great Karnak knows the answer. He can tell us the question before ascertaining an answer. The great Karnak, played by Johnny Carson. Okay. And there you see, that's right, film Werewolf 2010, right down in there. Werewolf running up the hills, throwing logs down there at Henry Licorno and stuff down there. And then down the trail, Werewolf run down the trail down there. And that scene, Frankenstein's walking on the log for Demon Monster from Outer Space. That log is way down there. It's a huge log. It's down the trail about maybe 50 feet. And I had a monster walking on the log. Yeah. No, that wasn't that log. That log was over there. That was over by where it used to be Lover's Lane. They closed it down. They cracked down on those people making out in the cars like every night on weekends. They put towels over the windows so they could make out with their girlie. They're smooching. Yeah, they're not just smooching, they're swapping worms. That's what Dr. Joe Boyd said, evangelist, because he looked at a bit of saliva. His doctor took a sample of his saliva and put it under a slide, looked at it under a microscope, and all kind of squigglies whirling around in there. Squiggle, like a hippopotamus and a giant snake, giant boa constrictor. He says, did that come from my saliva? And the doctor says, yeah. So Dr. Boyd says from the pulpit, so you young teenagers, when you're making out with your girlie, you're swapping worms. And they'd laugh, It's funny. But, that ain't going to stop people from smooching, and he knows it. The couples would laugh, The guys and girls, they'd be laughing. They think that's funny. I think I heard a deer down here. Up out of this Plains River now. There's the Des Plaines River. And I've filmed scenes along, down that way by the Des Plaines River for Devil Ant. Where you see the canister of that coffee can floating in the water in the dam. That was actually an empty coffee can. I put a fake label. I glued it with red paper, and I made a fake label that says fallout radiation waste, But really it's just a coffee can. It was Chasing Sanborn's coffee, the ground kind that you put in a little boat and coffee press, the kind you make in a coffee maker. One of those big cans, because I just get the real stuff. Now I get instant. I get the instant coffee. My brother gets Folgers, and that way you just put a teaspoon in the hot water, nuke a cup of water for about 3 minutes in the microwave, then you add a spoonful of that instant coffee, and it tastes great. Chasing Sanborn's a good brand, though. They've been around since like the 1800s. 1700s, maybe, I don't know. Guys with the beards, And I put a couple teaspoons of sugar in there and make that coffee taste sweet. Gotta get my carbs, my energy from the sugar. Okay, I'll see you.